Today on the City Buzz, we are hanging out at Chickie's and Pete's. We have a guest here who needs no introduction, Joe Perri, known as Lil Snuff.
That's right.
Yes,
that's right.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Make sure that you have some crab fries.
I know. I'm starving.
Yeah, eat some crab fries. You came off the plane to hang out with me today.
That's why I'm drinking my Red Bull.
Your Red
I'm
Bull.
a little tired, but I came.
I appreciate it. We got a little gift for you.
Oh, wow.
All right.
We're already getting gifts.
Already getting gifts. Little
wow.
Snuff
over. That's right. That's my saying.
Yeah.
He told you about that
did,
for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then on the back, there's Little City Buzz.
Please, everybody, make sure you go follow them on Instagram and all their social medias.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So we're going to get started. Put it right there. We're going to get started. So South Philly, people have tons of nicknames, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have a nickname for everybody.
Everybody has a nickname.
How did you get yours?
So my father's nickname is Big Snuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes. My father's from 10th and Carpenter. So there was a dog running down the street, and the dog's name was Snuff. So when they were screaming for the dog's name, my father turned around, and that's how my dad got his nickname.
No
just
way,
like
from a dog?
From a dog. Now, my dad's nickname, Big Snuff. When I was born, my Uncle Sonny and my Uncle Chrissy, they started calling me Little Snuff. And my grandfather, like nobody in my dad's side of the family calls me Joey, Joseph, it's Snuff.
Snuff.
Always. And then we named our dog Snuffy.
No way.
There's a dog Snuffy, too.
Now there's a dog Snuffy.
Yeah, he's like 9 now. So.
Oh,
yeah.
Little Snuffy.
Yeah.
Well, the little Snuffy dog.
But everybody in South Philly, like you said, has a nickname.
Yeah, everybody. You know? There's so many nicknames.
Yeah. All my friends, though, even growing up, none of them called me Joey, Perri. Even in high school, it was always like Snuff. Reverso used to call it TJ, Russo. So always like that.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love
cool.
that you got your nickname from a dog.
Yeah, I got it tattooed on me. Yeah, so it's all over me.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
So you had a luncheonette.
Yes.
Called Little Snuff's Luncheonette.
There you go. Yeah.
It was right near Newman Garetti.
Right down the street.
We went to high school.
Yeah.
And how did that start?
So what happened was my dad one day came to me and was like, I want to do something different because he was in the drywall business forever. So he's like, I want to do something different. I said, well, why don't we open up a store because I love cooking. Mm-hmm. And there was a perfect opportunity there. One of my best friends, Joe Fab's father, actually had it before me. And then they moved locations. They got into a different business. He owns Denix now in Blackwood, New Jersey, which is a great place. Definitely go check that out. And we just decided to open up Little Snuffs, and we put a menu together. We had a couple sandwiches, like the Momo Special. We had the Little Snuff, which was, a chick cutlet sandwich, and it was fun for a while, but it's too hard.
Yeah.
The food business, there's too much competition, and if you don't own the bricks, it's hard to make the rent.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because
so
it's
difficult.
like so expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, but I heard a lot about the place.
It was fun. Everybody used to come. Then we tried to do like all you can eat wings, all you can eat mussels, stuff like that. It was a good time for what it lasted, but working with my father, it couldn't work.
Yeah.
Nah, it was crazy.
Did you just butt heads?
Butt heads. I quit. I went to work in the union. I became a stagehand.
No way.
I actually left little Mikey Chang to work with my father, and I left. I said, I can't do this no more. And we closed like 2 months later, but we were going to close anyway because it just wasn't the right fit.
Yeah.
The location was good because we knew people there, but if you're going to depend on just the neighborhood, you can't make it. It's too hard.
I agree.
Yeah, it's too hard.
Even though you have the people in the neighborhood, like if it doesn't expand after that, then it is really hard.
And there's a lot of successful businesses in South Philly.
Absolutely.
With the new stuff now, like DoorDash and Uber Eats and Grubhub. Like
back then they didn't have that.
Back then it was different. So and there was no social media back then really like it is today.
Yeah.
So I remember, like I still get like Facebook. With memories that come up, and like the pictures looked awful. Like it wasn't the quality like we have today.
It's so crazy how like technology is right now.
Yeah.
So I was talking to somebody not too long ago. Like when I first started my music, there was MySpace.
MySpace, yeah.
And now there's so much social media.
Everything.
Pictures are. We were just talking.
Yeah.
You can make these videos with your phone,
That's all you
and
need.
the quality is fantastic.
Absolutely.
And I just think that it's really crazy how it evolves.
It did. Remember, like AIM, like you would put an away message on there.
Yeah,
and
BRB.
Then, BRB, or like you would have like MySpace, your top 64 friends, like your top 10, like
or your
it was
top
crazy.
8, and people used to fight you because they weren't on your top 8.
Yeah.
Oh
Crazy.
my God, MySpace was. People, you don't understand. If MySpace was still a thing, everyone would be a graphic designer.
100%.
We were doing we were coding.
Yeah, it was
we were
crazy.
making our own stuff.
But then times change and everything different. Then you got Instagram came and TikTok came and Vine I think came, like everything.
Vine came and left real quick.
Well, of course they got knocked out of box. Instagram's the biggest, I think personally.
I agree. Like that's where I do most of my stuff is
Me too.
Instagram. But I just think like a lot of these kids, like they have things at their fingertips right now that we didn't have.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm like, it's really great that you see like the little small businesses that come out of South Philly and all over that people now can support because of social media.
Yeah, like if you see on our podcast, like we shout out every business.
Yes.
Like literally, I'll go to a place just to eat there, just to put a post up and see if they're struggling, things like that. So social media is the way of the world.
It is,
and you can make a lot of money on it.
Yeah,
you really can. So it's good.
Talking about social media, I saw your videos.
Yeah.
For the cars,
yeah,
right?
That's how I started.
That's how you started. Yeah. First you started as a salesman at your luncheonette.
Yes, I did that.
So that was a number one start for you.
My whole life, I was always a salesman.
Yeah.
I always was a good talker. Like even in school, I always got myself out of trouble. So I had that always in me.
Yeah.
School wasn't for me, but when I got into really car sales, I had no intentions of getting in car sales. And it just happened. I came home from rehab. I needed a job. I didn't want to go back to the union. I got offered a job at Mall Chevrolet in Cherry Hill. I lasted there for 9, going on 10 years. Great experience.
Wow.
Yeah, I stayed at one car dealership for 9 years.
That's amazing.
We had a good crew there. We all stuck together. But that never happens in the car business. And I said to myself, like, I needed to do something different to sell cars because, like, all the older guys had their clients already, their customers. So I went outside one day and I just started making goofy videos, and a couple of them went viral, and that's how it took off from there. For less. I invented that, for less.
Listen, you did.
Everything I do is I say for less.
I was going to put that on the shirt, but my husband told me to do over.
I like overs better now because of gambling. But
I was cracking up because it's for less.
Yeah, everything. And that's how it started, and it took off from there. And then like people would come in and ask for me, and I got promoted to a manager after that, and I still made commercials, and and then years later the podcast came about.
Yeah. So was it hard for you? Like I know that you were working.
Yeah.
And then you were also doing the podcast. And then, was it like nerve-wracking to stop your full-time job that you had for 9-10 years and then do the podcast?
So it wasn't hard because my heart was telling me that the car business is not for you anymore. Like, this is what you have to do. You know what I mean? It was exhausting because I was working 2 full-time jobs. Like, I would fly to Florida and fly home in one day to be in work the next day.
Yeah.
So that was, like, starting to wear me down. But then I would notice, like, this thing's getting humongous at this point. Like, it's really, like, blowing up. And I was like, I have to make the decision. And I knew the right decision was the podcast.
And you followed your heart.
Yeah, you have to.
You have to because, and a lot of people, you do these jobs, right? Like you said, you did it for 9-10 years. And sometimes things get stale,
Of course, you do.
And you had a great run.
Yeah, I had a great run.
You enjoyed yourself doing it, and now you're doing bigger and better things. It's all about evolving.
Yeah, you have to, because if you're going to stick yourself in a situation and be miserable for the rest of your life, it's not worth it. I don't care how much money you make.
I agree.
I always say I'll take less money to be happy and have more free time to enjoy with your family, your friends, and things like that.
Because
it's not
that's
all
what's
about
important.
money. Yeah, 100%.
Like the memories that you make, and a lot of people when they do these jobs that, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to make money, and then I'm going to literally do the same thing every single day.
It's the truth.
You get depressed, and it's just really great that like you're able to have these opportunities and you're working hard, and the podcast is doing great.
Yeah, it's doing very good, thank God.
The Skinny with Joey Merlino and Lil Snuff.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's fun.
I
really
love that for you. And you go to Florida.
Which is probably the best part about it, because I love the weather.
Yeah.
The weather is just incredible.
I can only I would tell my husband, I'm like, can we like move to Florida from like January through March?
Yeah,
then we can come back.
It's a different life down there. It's like a better way of living. Like just like I feel like soon as you land, the air, like all your
it sucks the life.
Yeah, like it's just like everything just feels better there. Like the quality of life, everything like that. And then when you listen, I love South Philly.
Absolutely.
I love it. I'll never say anything bad. I get mad when people talk bad about us.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I take it personal.
Well, we're great. We're all great people. There's nothing like
people
it here.
don't understand what it's like to live here and the community and things like that. Like it's just something that I take pride in.
I agree. I do the same. That's why I started this podcast. I mean, me and you, we were talking, and I always kept saying like the buzz. Like growing up, everyone would tell me you need to do something to create buzz.
Of course.
You created buzz.
You have to.
You created buzz that landed you to do this podcast.
Yeah, you have to.
Tell us how that came about.
So I would say 6-7 months ago now, me and Ray Wags were talking, and he says to me that somebody approached Joey to do a podcast. And he's like, I don't think he will do it because it's just not the right setting or things like that. And I was like, I think it's a good idea. He's like, well, do you have any ideas for it? And I threw some ideas at him, like we could do food, we could do, we could do crime, and I could tell his life story, like narrate it. I said, or we could just get right into sports. I said, because at the time I was doing gambling content too. And he was like, I think it's a good idea. He's like, and whoever approached him at the time was Kevin Connolly to do a podcast. And Kevin's like, you need a sidekick, Joe. I need you to be the face of the show, but you need a sidekick. So right off the bat, Joey and Wags were like, Lil Snuff. Like they just said, Snuff is perfect for the job. Will he do it? And then I get a phone call like 2 weeks after that, California number, Kevin Connolly calls me, and like I'm a big fan of Entourage. I answer the phone, I put on speaker, I said to my wife, I'm like, this is really him. Like his voice, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And he's like, send me all your content. I sent it to him. 10 minutes later, he calls me back. He's like, you're the guy. He's like, I'm not doing this show with if you're not on it, we can't do it.
It's the truth.
He's like, let's do it. And I was appreciative to Wags and Joey for giving me that opportunity to put me in front of Kevin. You know what I mean? So it was just, and it became a good mix. Like
it's a great mix.
Yeah,
I mean, everyone loves it. You know, we watch it. My dad watches it all the time.
Everywhere, and it's just funny still till this day. Like, me and my wife are out to eat, and like people just come up.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah, it's funny. It's weird to me because it's just like I'm a South Philly kid, I'm a normal kid. You know what I mean? And it's just like when people are coming up to you, like I went to the Super Bowl, me and Joey, and celebrities are stopping us to tell us that they watched the podcast. Like I was dumbfounded.
Yeah,
like it was crazy to me.
But that's really great because you're so humble.
Yeah,
you're a South Philly guy.
Yeah, through and through.
I mean, you went to St. Monica's.
Yeah.
You went to Newman Goretti.
Which was St. Monica's and Newman Goretti. Newman Goretti was probably the best place on earth.
So I always say it. If I can go back, I would go back to my junior, senior year. Yep. It was just a great time.
It really was.
You were with people who just understood you.
I tell people that aren't from this city, and I talked about high school, and some people are like, oh, I hated high school. Well, I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought it was a club. Like, it really was.
That's what it felt like,
you felt like you were walking into a nightclub. Like, everybody was there. Everybody was laughing. Everybody was having a good time. And growing up, like for some reason, my generation, we didn't even fight with each other. Like, corners didn't fight then. Everybody got along. I'm still friends with probably every 2nd Streeter, every 30th Streeter, still till this day that I went to school with.
It's also because you have a great personality.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like, when we were in school, I don't remember there being any, 12th Street, even 2nd Street. I
Once
feel
in
like
a blue moon, you might have somebody argue maybe over a basketball game or something like that, but we never had issues.
I agree.
Never.
And I think that's what makes our age range we're very close.
Absolutely.
I mean, you see someone that you saw in high school that you haven't seen in 10 years, and it's like you picked right back up.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm still close.
At the supermarket, you're like, oh, hey,
yeah,
how's
100%.
everything going?
I'm still best friends with everybody that I grew up with. From Michael Reverso, TJ Biondo, I met them. They're from 12th and Rittner.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I met them at 8 years old, playing baseball down Saya. Still till this day.
Which is where I met you originally.
Yeah.
Saya.
I talk to them every single day, still till this day. Every day.
I think that's really great. And Saya, it's a youth group.
Yeah.
I mean, I pretty much was born down there.
Yeah, Billy Mack's whole family ran the whole show. It's just memories that you'll never forget.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
My dad, we lived down there.
Yeah.
When it started, it was 1993. I literally
I was one.
I was just born.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's how it began, just to get the community involved, just to get the children to come together and not be on corners.
Yeah.
And I think that when I think back on my memories, I think of playing sports, being down Sayed, things like that. What were your favorite?
No. You don't see it nowhere. My probably favorite memories were Rizzo Rank hockey.
Okay.
That was definitely my favorite.
Yeah.
That's one of them. And then when we had a league down 18th and Johnson at the field, we used to have basketball. We were called the Young Guns because we were the young kids in the neighborhood. That was probably there would be 300 people watching the games. Even on 2nd and Jackson, there had to be 200 people watching these games every single night.
It's really not like that anymore.
Nah, the kid. That's why.
A lot of the kids are on their video games. They're just not. They don't want to be out and about.
Joey says it all the time. He's like, that's why they're ugly and fat, and they stay home. They don't go outside.
It's the truth.
They have no social skills.
Yes.
Even if you say hello to somebody, a kid that's just out with their family, they don't even know how to say hello back.
I agree.
It's
our
a problem.
Parents taught us something different.
Yeah.
And I mean, now it's our time to teach this generation, but it's really hard. They're just different.
Yeah.
They're just very different.
It's a different generation because the social media killed them in that aspect.
Yes.
The video. I played Madden maybe one time my whole life. I never was into video games. I was always outside, always doing something, always looking for girls, never looking for problems.
Yeah.
I always wanted to go outside, hang out with my friends.
And kids don't do that no more. You're right. Like social media is great in some aspects, but when it comes to like being social, people don't know how to do it.
Well, I heard proms now, they don't even take dates. They just go with friends. Like just nobody has a date. They just go.
Yeah,
like it's different.
When we were in school, you had to take
it was
a date.
a big thing. Like it was fun. I took all girls that were my friends, so there was never an issue. I had a ball with all my dates that we went to high school with, or everything. They don't even do that no more.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
like that's what I think about in high school. I took all friends too.
Yeah, you have to.
You have the best time.
Best time.
And they're the memories that you keep with you. You know. But I got to bring it back to Florida weather. Right? I got to bring it back because when I think of Florida, right. Palm trees, right? All that stuff. Like, I need to go. Okay.
Yeah.
But I saw your video with the daiquiri, the virgin daiquiri.
Virgin
in your
daiquiri.
Hand,
yeah.
Right? Sobriety is very important.
Very biggest. That's number one in my life.
Yeah. It's,
no matter what.
I'm like, I think about you, right? And I'm like, wow, like you overcame so much.
Yeah.
And look how fantastic that you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, tell us about like that journey for you.
Well, I would say, I mean, it just started out of nowhere. Like, I was young. The first time I ever did a pill was in Margate at Memories. I'll never forget it. And I just thought that it was going to be fun for that weekend. You know what I mean? And then that weekend led me down a road that I thought that I would never cross. And all them never have I evers all came true.
Yeah.
And it happened at a weird time because my friends that I grew up with, there's 8 of us that have this tattoo on our ankle, Forever Young. 6 out of 8 struggled with addiction.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a few stayed sober, and me and TJ Biondo, we got sober. He's about 6 months longer sober than me, but it was like we were on the same journey, so it's special.
Yeah, it's very special.
It's weird. It's weird to talk about it because people don't understand how important that is,
Listen, it is extremely important. You had a friend that went along with you.
Yeah.
Or it's good to have that foundation and that support and, give like a little insight on like someone that maybe is listening right now.
Well, because people don't want to say that they need help. Like, just say it. Like, just go on social media and you could see the videos and all these treatment centers that are around and detox centers, or just anybody tells you just reach out for help. And I know it's hard, but you have to do it. You have to reach out for help. So for me, I never wanted help because I was like, nah, I'm not addicted. I know I'm not addicted, but I was the whole time.
Yeah.
And then the last time was I just did it for myself. I didn't do it for nobody else. There were no girls, no family, nobody. This was for me. I wanted to get sober, and that was it. September 11th, 2016.
Wow.
Yeah, what a date I picked.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad date. Everybody says that.
Guess what? It's not a bad date.
Yeah,
you want to know why it's not a bad date? Because it's your date now.
Yeah, absolutely. I got it tattooed on my chest. So, it means a lot to me.
And, when you talk about addiction, right, like my mom, she's a recovering alcoholic, and she went away so many times.
Yeah.
But it was because of us.
Yeah.
We wanted her to. And it took her to the point where she wanted to do it for herself.
That's the only time it works. I went away 4 times. The last time I went to Malvern Institute, great program in PA. I wanted to do it for myself. Like, I remember driving there, my mom and sister took me there. Like, my nose was bleeding.
Yeah.
Like, my sister wasn't talking to me. My mom was just, like, dumbfounded. Like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And at the time, like, for me, it was like, I thought it was a big joke. Like, I just thought that this was nothing. Like, I could overcome it. And then that morning, I woke up. My mom piss tested me in the middle of the night. I didn't know. And they had, like, an intervention. Yeah. And I said, you know what? I'll go away. I did it for myself, and that was it.
It's a lot of people, like, when you're doing this stuff, you don't realize like the other people that are affected by it.
Yeah, everybody's affected by it.
It's your whole family, your friends, like people that you truly care about. And, addiction's like a big thing. Like not just in South Philly, all over the world.
All over the world. And it don't discriminate. Don't matter how much money you have. It don't matter who your father is, who your mother is, what kind of businesses you own. It does not matter.
It doesn't matter.
It will get you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It always does.
Like you said, you did one pill.
That was it.
And it took you down this road.
Yeah.
But you overcame it.
Yeah.
And you're doing great things.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just when people look at other people and it's like, oh, look how good he's doing. But there was a struggle to get to where that person was at,
Absolutely.
And I don't wish addiction on anyone. I think it's the worst thing in the world. I really do. But that's first in my life. Like, if I'm not sober, none of this could happen.
Yeah, I
I'm
agree.
done.
Well,
Yeah.
you're in a great mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have a beautiful wife.
Yeah.
Your family is extremely important to you, and it's good to have that backbone, that foundation. I mean, your family is hilarious.
Yeah, they're nuts. My father's absolutely out of his mind.
I watch his videos of him screaming at the TV.
Always betting horse. Like my whole life, that's how I grew up. Like I grew up in that lifestyle of action. I call it action. Like at 8 years old, like that's all I wanted to be around was my dad, the hangouts, my uncles, like just to see that. Like that's South Philly.
That's what it is.
And still till this day, I need action. And the podcast, it's just nonstop. So I love that. You know what I mean?
Now, you probably agree with me with this. When you're doing things like this, right? Podcasts, your videos.
Yeah.
Doesn't it give you that high on life feeling?
Yeah, all
you
day.
don't need nothing else.
So
like
if you're a gambler, you'll understand this. It's like when the roulette ball is spinning and you're waiting for it to drop in that number. Every time I make a video, that's how I feel.
that's
I
amazing.
feel like I hit the number, especially when the views. I'm addicted to looking at the views.
That's okay.
Addicted.
I feel that way. Like
Yeah.
I'm high on life.
Yeah.
Like I love doing
Yeah.
this kind of stuff, and I feel that with you too.
Yeah, it's 100%. Like
it's-
Reverso said to me last night, we went to dinner, and he said to me, "You're just so much more happier now." And I'm like, I guess I didn't realize it because I was happy at my job, and I loved the car dealership. I
Yeah.
did. But I couldn't do anything else. Like I was working so many hours. So I guess when I was off, all I wanted to do was sleep. I was miserable.
Yeah.
Now it's like I'm at the Super Bowl, I'm at a golf event, I'm here, I'm there. It's a better way of life.
And it's a lot of people that when they're doing that 9 to 5 job or whatever it is, like it's hard to wake up in the morning,
Yeah.
right? But when you're doing this, you can get 2 hours of sleep,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
you're like, all right,
I'm
what's
on.
next?
I'm on 2 hours of sleep
2
right
hours-
now.
exactly.
I left this morning, Florida at 5 a.m. I got on the flight at 7. I came right here.
Yeah, see?
And
I
I went to
appreciate
sleep
that.
probably like 1:30, 2 o'clock
Yeah.
this morning. But the Red Bull's doing good.
It's
yeah,
getting you.
it
All
kicks
right,
in.
come
it's
on.
good. Yeah,
Red Bull
it's
sponsor,
good.
and let's
That's
go.
right.
Charity events, right?
Yeah, we do a lot
You
of
guys
them.
are big with that.
Yeah.
I know that you did the turkey drive. You talk about the vets all the time,
All the
which is
time.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Not many people do that anymore,
So
right?
Joey's been doing charity work since 1980. You got to realize there's a 30-year difference between me and him. I'm 32, he's 62. So my father was around for what he used to do for the community. Like he does a lot of stuff for people behind the scenes. He don't want to be noticed for it. You know how many cable bills and electric bills like he pays for people that lost their cable or he was
That's
in
so
jail
nice.
with,
Yeah.
like things like that. Like he does a lot. And when we started the podcast, he wanted to give back. And the first time we raised money, we raised $110,000 fast.
Wow.
2 weeks.
That is incredible.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
That's so
Yeah.
beautiful. And what was that for? Was that the
So
turkey
that
drive?
was we did a turkey drive.
Yes.
So what we did, we went over to the Dorothy Allen Projects. It's called. It was like on 24th, I think, in Wharton. It could be one of them streets. And it's a community center. What we did, 100 families got a dinner. They got a coat. They got a bicycle. They got the mummers to perform. What else did they get? Hats. Just to help
things
the
that they
families.
need, yeah.
Santa was there. So we did all that. Then on top of that, we gave like $25,000 to the veterans, $25,000 to breast cancer, $20,000 to the SPCA for the dogs and all. So and then we did $10,000 to prison reform for families that are in jail and left their kids home with their grandparents who
Yeah.
are on Social Security and make $800 a month, and they can't give these kids what they need, so we donate it to them too.
Not many people realize that
No.
aspect.
No, well,
Like,
because they only want to hear the bad.
yeah.
That's all they want to hear.
I love this.
Yeah.
Like the charity is very big for me.
Yeah.
I've always been very into charity. I do most of my stuff for free because I love helping people,
Yeah, absolutely.
right? So hearing you guys do that is so nice.
Yeah.
And breast cancer, you did it
Yeah.
to people in need.
Yeah.
I never knew about or thought about when people are in jail and
Yeah.
they leave their
They
kids
leave their
home.
kids behind.
I never thought of that
Yeah,
before.
think about it. They're home. You got their grandparents are taking care of them, or their aunts and uncle, and they're on Social Security or on disability, or making $1,000 a month. I mean,
Yeah.
how could they get them anything? They
That was
can't.
never thought in my
Yeah.
mind. Wow.
So like I said, Joey does a lot of things behind closed doors, and you're not going to hear about it because the way the media perceives him and
Absolutely,
things like
yeah,
that.
the
But he
media-
doesn't do it for that. He really doesn't. He's really one of the best people I ever met. Like, he's fun to be around. He's a good time. We break balls. We have that chemistry. But
Yeah.
he does a lot for people that it's not talked about.
It's nice because you also have that person by your side, the
yeah.
good energy.
Yeah.
I'm all about the good vibes.
Always, you gotta have good vibes.
You always have to have good vibes.
The only times we don't have good vibes is when we gamble because we don't win a lot.
It's okay. That's fine,
Yeah.
right? March Madness is coming
I
up,
know.
right?
Big on March Madness.
You love it,
Love
right?
it. Love it.
Who do you think's winning? taking home
Houston.
the whole Houston. Okay,
Houston.
we got Houston.
I think Houston or North Carolina are my 2 picks.
Okay.
And I've been saying that for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks now.
All right.
I went to the Hard Rock in Florida. I bet both of them to win it all. So we'll see what happens.
You bet already?
Yeah, of course.
I'll die.
Yeah, of course.
I'm a
Love it.
nervous Nelly. I can't bet nothing.
I try not to gamble on certain things, but like my wife doesn't gamble. So
that's
when she
me and
met
her
me,
would get
like
along.
when she met me, I explained to her my whole life already. Before she would even allow me to take her on a date, which took 6 months. We're not going to get into that right now. But I told her, listen, I'm sober and clean. I don't know if you're okay with that. Some girls might think it's weird, but I was always upfront with it. And she was okay with it and all. I said, but I also do gamble, and that's what I enjoy. I'm never going to cheat. I'm never going to drink again. I'm never going to do drugs again. But I like to gamble. I enjoy sitting there on a Sunday, parlays, my bulldog by my side. That's what I enjoy.
Yeah.
That's what I enjoy.
So for me, like when you think about it, right? Like you love to gamble, right? That gives you that like little rush, right? I find that to be okay.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. It just can't, you just can't lose your house.
You can't
Maybe your
lose-
car, not the house.
It's okay. There's Uber.
Yeah,
We're good, right?
there you go.
But your wife, right?
Yeah.
Like she's so supportive of you.
Yeah.
And she was telling me she loves like going and doing stuff with you and everything.
Always.
How did you guys meet? Oh, I love the juicy stories.
Reverso and Russo said to me, I had Drake tickets. We were going to the Drake concert. Us two, Pissarro and me, we were going to Drake. So they were like, let's go to Tradesman's before we go to Drake. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go to Tradesman. Me and Pissarro were sober. Pissarro's sober 10 years. I'm sober 8 years. We don't want to go there. So Pissarro winds up staying home, get unchanged. So they're like, just come. We walk in Tradesman's. I walk in. A girl named Elisa Soro's in there who I know my whole life. I say hello to her. She's with this blonde girl. Russo and Reverso say hello to both of them. I say hello to Elisa. Danielle's staying there. Of course, we say hello to each other.
Yeah.
Never seen her a day in my life. Never. She says I followed her on social media, but I don't believe that. But we're sitting there. I'm one of these guys. 20 minutes. I want to leave. I don't want to be here. It's a bar. I'm not into that scene anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not for me. So they're like, all right, we'll leave. And, they always respect my wishes. Like, if I don't want to be around certain places, they're like, all right, yeah, let's go. So I'm walking out, and I get a tap on the shoulder from Elisa. She's like, can you drive me and my friend Danielle to Chickie's and Pete's, where we're at right now?
Wait, I'll die.
Yeah, we're right here. I say, yeah,
This is so
absolutely.
nice.
We all get in the car. Everybody's talking. We're breaking balls. Me and Danielle's in the back seat. Now, Reverso and Russo, they're monsters,
Yeah.
So she's like on the end, I think, or the middle. They get out of the car. I drop them off. I look over to Russo. I say, just like this, I'm going to marry that girl.
Wait, I love this. I got the chills.
If we
That's
could call
amazing.
Russo on the phone, I'll tell you. He looks at me, he says, you have 0 shot. Just like that. So now we're breaking balls, and we leave, and we go to Reverso's house to get unchanged. We go to Drake concert. 2 days later, I'm getting my car washed. I find a lipstick in the back seat. I said, well, it's got to be Danielle or Elisa.
Yeah.
I text Elisa. I have her number. Did you leave your lipstick in my car? She's like, no. She said, maybe Danielle did. So she texts Danielle. Danielle said it was hers. I said to Elisa, I'll drop it in your mailbox. I put it in Elisa's mailbox. Danielle then DMs me and says, thank you for dropping my lipstick off. And since that day, that was it.
Did she leave that lipstick on purpose?
I think she did. She says she didn't, but it took me 6 months, though, to take her out because she was like, I know what you're about. You want to go with all other girls. And, I was young. We have a, little age difference. So, but then I worked her. I was buying every restaurant she went in South Philly. I was calling up, pick up her check. I was sending her door dashes and go puffs and flour, everything. I was relentless.
Because
I wasn't
you
I knew.
wanted her. You knew it right in your heart.
And I had no intentions on getting married, being engaged, or getting a girlfriend at that time.
Guess what? I feel like that's when it happens.
It does.
When you least expect it, and it's true love.
Yeah.
Like, you
No, it is.
really felt in your heart that that's what
Oh,
you
I know
wanted.
it. And Russo was like, you have no chance. And we would text every day and break balls. He's like, 0 shot. And then Reverso was on his side, too. Like, you're never getting her. Forget about it. And it was like a competition.
Well,
you know what I mean?
it'll happen just
It'll
by
happen.
leaving a thing of lipstick.
Yeah, funny.
I love this.
But I always tell people this, too. When somebody asks you to go somewhere, even though you don't want to go. Because you never know who you can meet.
Never know who you can meet. My dad would say that to me all
It's
the
the
time.
truth.
Like, even in the business or even just
just anything. You can meet
anything.
somebody who
You can
owns
meet-
a company. Next thing you know, you got a job interview.
But we're talkers, right? Nowadays, people don't do that. They
No.
don't talk.
Yo.
I'd say I could talk to a fly on the
Yeah,
wall.
of course.
Like,
I mean,
you're
that's
the
what
same
you're
way.
supposed to do. Like, you're supposed to be personable, especially in this business. You have to be.
Like, I think that you're very personable.
Thank
like,
you.
You talk to everybody.
Oh, everybody.
Like,
I'm always nice to people. I never, ever wish bad on people. I want everybody to win, and I'm always, how can I say, like, supportive. If you're going to do something, I'm rooting for you. Why would I want to see you fail? It never made sense to me. No. You open up a restaurant, you want to do this, I'll share your stories, I'll support it. You're doing a GoFundMe, I'm donating to it. That's just always how I was.
I see that on your pages, right?
Yeah.
You're always sharing things.
Always.
You shared my stuff.
Yeah, always.
Like you share it for everyone.
Yeah, always.
I love that about
Especially
you.
if you're from our neighborhood, South Philly.
Exactly. You want people to win.
Always.
And that's really nice because there's a lot of people out there who are real bitter.
Well, there's evil people.
Evil people.
Yeah.
People on social media or just people in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of good people around
Always,
us.
yeah. I would say South Philly's got more good people than bad people.
I agree.
And I love South Philly. Like I always tell people, where are you from? South Philly.
Yeah.
I'm not from Philadelphia.
So
I'm from
I say
South
the same
Philly.
thing. I'm like South Philly.
Yeah.
Because when people say they're from Philadelphia, they're not from
No,
here.
they're from Lancaster.
Yeah, Lancaster.
You're not from here.
Or Delco.
Yeah,
I
like,
mean,
you're not
they're
from,
very
like,
different than
yeah.
us.
And look, I got a lot of Delco supporters, though. I do. Like,
Okay,
they
let's
love
go,
it.
Delco.
Listen, they love the podcast. Like, they're always reaching out to me because I don't think we sound anything like Delco, but people always
guess they can
comment
relate
under
to
my
us.
videos. They're like, "Oh, you got to be from Delco." No, from South Philly.
Yeah.
It's different.
We sound very different than a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that like you doing your podcast and
Yeah.
stuff, you stood the way that you
Always,
are.
never change for nothing.
You shouldn't have to change
No.
for anyone. Like
No.
if someone's going to love you and support you,
Yeah.
they should support the person that you are.
Yeah.
And I support what you're doing.
Absolutely.
This is great. Little small businesses.
You have to.
What are your favorite ones?
Paul, you want to talk about favorite restaurants or you
No,
want
we're going to do
small
restaurants
businesses?
later.
I would probably say like a mom and pop store, like for instance, 15th of Chung, Jeannie's.
I never heard of them.
The best pizza pretzel in the city, chicken cutlets. I get my coffee there every morning when I'm in the city. Homegrown. Always support homegrown.
Yes. They have what's it called? The chocolate banana ice coffee.
Yeah, they got everything there. And Jimmy's, his name's Jimmy too. Great guy. Dad Stuffings, my first job ever when I was 10 years old.
That was your first job?
First job ever, Dad Stuffings. I used to drive the bike and deliver the food with a basket in the front. Yeah, that's how I started.
You remind me of a little old Italian man.
I am.
Okay,
I'm an
because
old soul.
You were an old soul because when you think about it, right? You got your job at 10 years old.
Yeah.
You're riding your bike, delivering
I got that
food.
job to buy True Religion jeans when they first came out. That's why I got that job.
Wow.
And then I got a funny story with that. Me and John Maratay, Pig, we went to New York for our, what was it, junior or senior? I don't know which year it was. They took us to, what was his name? He was our religion teacher in high school. Mr. Zaleski?
Yeah,
Mr.
Mr.
Zaleski.
Zaleski.
He took us for a march. We went.
Oh, I probably went to
Yeah,
it. It was
so
the March for Life.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And we had to go somewhere and they gave us like an
DC.
hour free time. No, this was New
Oh.
York he took us.
Oh,
He took
okay,
us to
never
New York.
mind.
And I said, let's go to Canal Street and buy True Religion jeans. I said, we'll bring them back to South Philly and we'll sell them. Me and him go there with $2,000 that I borrowed for me and him. And I had to give it back to my dad. When we came home, we got jumped.
No
They
way.
took all our money. They beat us up. And we had to go back to school like nothing happened. Yeah, me and Pig.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, still a funny story. When
It's
I
a
see him,
great
we still
story.
talk about it till this day.
Like who? First of all,
Who thought of it? Well,
Yeah.
he always wanted to make money too. He was always
Okay.
like that. He was always a hustler, even like dealing poker, get jobs. Like he was the same way as me, and I came up with a plan, and it didn't work.
didn't work. It's
Didn't
fine
work,
though.
yeah.
Good memories.
But we tried.
And out $2,000.
Yeah,
What
like it
happened?
was
Was your
done.
dad like mad?
I came home and I told him. I said, you got to give us a couple of weeks to pull up this money. And I think me and Pig, we wound up playing poker. He won a tournament because he was a good poker player, and we gave it back to him.
Oh, at least you still
Yeah.
gave it back.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that.
Good time.
I'm not kidding though. Your dad. Like your dad, your mom, your sister posts the videos.
Yeah.
I love that how supportive you are of your sister.
Oh, yeah,
Like
always.
you guys are like best friends.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, we used to fight when we were younger.
That's okay. Who doesn't fight with their siblings?
I remember we were Wildwood days, like Ocean City. She used to beat. She's tough. My sister's tough.
She is
She'll
tough.
definitely beat me up.
She
But
can definitely beat me up. I
she used to-
sometimes get nervous.
Yeah. She clawed my back one time. I'm not even kidding. There was blood all over the Florentine pool in Wildwood. Like that's how she would get. We would argue. I would try and drown her under a pool. Yeah, but we have fun. My family's very close.
Yeah.
And Victoria too. Victoria was always around.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Victoria was
So,
always with your
crazy as
family.
ever. I used to call them the Twin Towers. They're both big and they'll both fight in a second.
They were in my so I had to take gym like later on. Like it was my senior year. I believe she was a sophomore.
Yeah.
We were in the same class as me, her, Victoria. It was like all her friends.
Yeah, yeah.
They used to crack me up.
they're
man.
crazy.
They are the funniest
Yeah.
group of friends.
they've been close for years, too.
They have been from St. Monica's,
Yeah, from
correct?
St. Monica's, yeah.
And you get that nowhere else but here.
No, I know. It's the truth.
Like, your friends that you went to kindergarten with are still your best friend for life.
Yeah,
like,
it's weird.
I find
it's
that
weird.
to be amazing.
Ray Dottie and me.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we met. How we met was I threw him in a jacuzzi. That's how we met. He was in a full suit. He was like 3. We were 3-4 years old. We were at Chris Renzi's house down the shore, and my parents and his parents, they knew each other, and we just met for the first time, and I pushed him in.
I will die.
And we're still best friends to this day.
And do you think he can beat you up?
Ray? Yeah. He's a monster. I mean, I'm a weapon user, but yeah. But
now
we
he
never got,
is.
me and Ray never got in one argument our whole life.
He has a
Never
very,
once.
like, calm demeanor, though. But I feel like you're not someone that really gets
never.
in arguments.
I never got into an argument with really any of my friends.
Yeah.
You know, when we're younger, like, you know, you're playing football and sports like that, but we never fought each other, never did nothing.
Yeah. So your sister, she
Yeah.
followed in your footsteps of being a saleswoman.
Yes.
Okay. I thought that this was amazing.
Yeah.
I loved your video of you promoting
Yeah,
her.
of course.
She's selling houses.
Yes.
When did she start that?
I think she started selling houses like 2020, 2019, like in that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you got to do what makes you happy.
And she's a hustler. I mean, when you're in that business, you have to
Yeah,
hustle.
you
and
have to.
she does that. I mean, it runs in your family.
Yeah.
I love that, like, everyone's a salesman.
Yeah, like, and listen, a lot of people helped her that I grew up with, like Dominic Reverso, Michael Reverso, Gianna Giannetti, TK. You know, Mary Tropea gave her a job. You know, Keller Williams.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, like from South Philly, everybody's going to help you.
The
You know what I mean?
support is like no other. And I mean, when I jump into things, I feel like I always do get a lot of support
Yeah,
from
you're supposed
people.
to.
And I really am appreciative
Yeah.
of it, like how you supported
Yeah,
me.
of
I mean, we
course.
saw each other
At the
the
Serenade.
Serenades, the
Yeah.
Viking Serenade.
Yeah. And well, it's funny because we were watching you New Year's Day.
Yeah.
And it was me. We were all at my house. And I said, wow, I said, she's doing such a good job. And that's when I messaged you.
Yeah.
I was like, forget what everybody's saying. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
know
I
what mean?
appreciate that. It was last minute,
Yeah.
but I had fun. Like, and
Absolutely.
I think that kind of gave me a little bit of push to like do this kind of
Yeah.
stuff because I'm like, I don't know if I can do something like this, you
It's
know.
the best.
But I just like talking to people.
Absolutely. And when you could get the word out about certain things that you want to promote or plug and things like that, it just makes you feel good.
Yeah, and like people don't understand like to be a conversationalist,
Yeah.
right? Like you have to know how to speak to people,
Yeah, of
right?
course.
And you know how to speak to everybody.
Yeah, you have to speak to people the way they want to be spoken to. You know, it's
How do
weird.
you get that like the vibe off of the people?
For some, their body line, I could tell right off the bat somebody's body line is the way they shake my hand, the way they say hello to me. So
Yeah.
I know right off the bat. I always was good with that. Like my buddy Pissarro, he worked at the car dealership for me. I used to say I used to know a deal from the handshake. If I knew this guy was buying a car or girl, from the handshake, right from the
Wow.
hello, every time.
Give a terrible handshake, so I
Yeah.
have no idea
Well,
how.
I don't know. We gotta do. I don't know. But
How's my handshake?
pretty good. But say it's firm. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to give somebody like like that's a dead fish. We call that. Like
Dead
it's like a dead fish. So I used to always know that.
Like a firm handshake.
Yeah, you got to be like
Okay.
even when I was younger, like I used to walk in places and I used to say hello to everybody, like look them in the eye, say hello, know their name.
That's a big thing. Looking
thing.
someone in the eye. Like I hate a wandering eye.
Yeah.
It bothers me
Listen,
so much.
TJ used to say to me all the time, he said, you got all our parents buffaloed. They all think you're the best person ever because everybody's parents love you. TJ's mom, Lisa, loves me. So still to this day, Vicky, Reverse's
they're
mom,
a great
Russo's mom.
Everybody that you just named,
Oh,
I
it's
remember
great.
from being
Yeah,
younger
great.
and say it.
Yeah.
And you know, it's how we all grew up. Our
Yeah.
families are so close.
Yeah, of course.
We all grew up the same way.
Yeah, I walk right in their houses still to this day.
Yeah.
We don't knock on doors. Like we
No.
know each other forever. Like anything you need. It was just funny. Like he always used to say, like my mom loves you. She don't know what you're doing on a Saturday night though. Like we used to break each other's balls like that.
If like your younger self, if you can go back, like what was the job that you wanted? Like
The
a lot of people
job
are
that
like, I want to be a
wanted-
doctor. I want to be a fireman.
I think that I wanted it to be a history teacher, to be honest with
No
you.
friggin'
and,
way.
and it's weird because I really always liked history, but I hated school. So it was weird. Like I always used to say, I love history. I love certain things like with the war and crime and like
Yeah.
things that happened back then, prohibition. I always was interested in that. But like, then it faded away, I guess.
Yeah, I can't relate. I was terrible in school.
Me too. Horrible.
I was terrible. Did you go to college?
For a day.
A day.
One day, I went to community college with me and a good friend of mine, Victoria. We went to college, and the first day we were there, or it was the second day, first or second day, they gave us a check. They said, you got to go down to the library to buy your books. So I said, okay, and I walk in the library. What's your name? This guy shuffles. He hands me a check for like $1,100.
You definitely gambled that.
No.
Oh, okay.
I did something better.
Okay.
So Victoria got one too. So she's like, what do we do? I said, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. I'm calling a check cashing place. I called my buddy who owns a check cashing place. I said, can you cash this check? He's like, yeah, what is it? I said, it's got my name on it from school. He's like, yeah, he don't know what it's for, books or whatever. I said, come on, let's go. She's like, we're going to cash it. I said, yeah, we go cash the checks. We went to the mall, never went back to school. A year later, my mom comes down the basement. I'm living with my parents because I'm, whatever you are and going to college. She's like, I just got a letter. You ain't been to college ever. I'm like, yeah, I went one day. That was it. One day, gone.
She thought you were there the whole time.
So I was there the whole time. We still had to pay the money. I paid it, though. That's because I had a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
funny.
your job was the car?
Then I was, where did I work at then? I think I worked at Stogie Joe's or the saloon. I think it was the saloon first. I was a busboy.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I left the saloon. I went to work at Stogie Joe's.
Wow.
Yeah. I always worked my whole life.
You did?
Always.
From 10 years old
Yeah,
on?
always. I love working. I do.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them people that could sit in. So
You like
always wanted
being
to go.
on the go?
Always.
Yeah.
I'm always on the go.
Do you want to play a game?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to play a game.
Go ahead.
So it's not really a game, actually. Like, usually I do like a this or that game or whatever, but yours is going to be just your Philly favorites.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
I got a lot of them.
I know.
Because I'm a food critic.
I know you are.
So-
This is why it's going to be really hard for you.
Go
All
on.
right? So your favorite pizza spot?
I'm going to say Pizzeria Badia.
Really?
Yeah.
Where is that?
That is in Fishtown.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your
Pizza-
favorite pizza there? Just a regular
Just
plain
regular
pie?
pie, yeah.
I feel like you can't judge a pizza if it's not a plain
Yeah.
pie. Like it has to
It's
be a
great.
plain
Now,
pie.
are you talking about overall or just in Philly? Are we going?
Philly. Just
Philly,
Philly.
then Pizzeria Padilla.
Okay.
For sure.
This is all Philly favorite
Okay.
spots. Cheesesteak.
Famous on 4th Street.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Famous on 4th
Yeah.
Street.
Yeah. And I never knew they sold cheesesteaks. My buddy Steve said to me, you got to go to Famous on 4th Street and eat a
They're the ones
cheesesteak.
that have like the
The
sandwich-
Reuben,
yeah,
the big
the Reuben,
sandwiches, yeah,
right?
and the oatmeal cookies, chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah.
They have the best cheesesteak in the city.
That's
But
wild.
we're going to have the best cheesesteak. Joey's opened up a cheesesteak place right down the street. Skinny Joey's Cheesesteaks.
Really?
Yeah.
Where is that going to?
Right on Broad and Packer, the old talk of the town. Yeah.
Oh, right by where my parents
Yeah,
are. Okay.
right there,
Can
so-
you make sure they have a gluten-free roll for
Yeah,
me?
we'll try whatever we got to do. But yeah, it's going to be cool. Skinny Joey's Cheesesteaks, he's opened up, so he's going to have the best one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And like it's right down the street from the stadiums
Everywhere.
and everything.
Yeah.
People will be
I know, they're going to go crazy.
They're going to go nuts.
Yeah.
When do you plan on doing that?
6 months probably in that
Okay.
range. They're going to start work on it Monday, so hopefully
This
sooner
is
than
going to
later.
be so great.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be good.
I am excited for this
Yeah.
for you. This is awesome. Hoagie.
Hoagies, I got to go Primo's, old school,
Primo's.
Rittner Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, Primo's.
See, I didn't know where you were going to go with that.
So I would say Primo's because I grew up on 16th Street, so that's where I always went. But, Little Nick's. I love Little Nick's Deli also.
So that's where I thought you were going to say.
Gary, Nick, Eric, they're my people. I love them to death.
Nick's is my favorite.
Yeah,
I
good
love
people.
it there.
Yeah.
Water ice.
I mean, the old Mancuso's on Passyunk Avenue.
I thought you were going to say Italianos.
No, Mancuso's has the best. If people don't even know about it, they're supposed to make it again this year. Mancuso's chocolate was great, and then second, I would have to go John's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Italianos wasn't
It was
a thing.
good. I
It
used
was
to get the
good.
iced tea from
Yeah, yeah,
Italianos. It was
uh-huh.
good, but
I like John's. I think at this moment, like John's is my number one.
Yeah, John's got the best butter pecan ice cream in the world.
Really?
Unbelievable. Yeah.
You're teaching me
Yeah.
things. They just have to be gluten-free.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. This is going to be super hard for you unless you already know what it is. Okay. Restaurant.
Saloon. 7th and Fitzwater.
That's your
Number
job,
one in
right?
South Philly.
It is the number one in
Yeah.
South Philly. I've never had a better meal.
Yeah.
We went there a bunch of times. I have like hair literally sticking to my face from the wind.
Because of the wind.
The wind.
I know.
You'll see my hair blowing. Like, the saloon has amazing food, but I
Amazing.
love the atmosphere there.
Well, it's all about the atmosphere. That's the way Richie, he's the owner, one of the best guys around. He did it. And the food's excellent. The staff's great. The cooks are great. And then I got to give one that's like 1A, the Villa de Roma
Villa de Roma
on 9th Street.
Yeah.
Pippi.
9th Street is so different now,
Yeah.
yet there is so many hidden gems
Of
there.
course.
And that's what I love about South Philly. There's hidden gems everywhere.
Everywhere.
And like just where we are, we're at Chickie's and Pete's,
Yeah.
right? There's a Termini's, there's a Pastificio, like a hairdresser, like everything.
Celebrys. There's so many good places.
You're literally in your backyard.
Yeah.
And you don't have to drive far. You
No.
can walk.
You can walk anywhere you
can
want.
walk wherever you want.
It's the
Like
truth.
the city's on a grid. Like
Yeah.
you can You don't have to go in an Uber. You don't have to if you're in Jersey or somewhere else, you have to drive.
Even in Florida, you got to drive everywhere.
Yeah.
You have to drive everywhere. It's not like around here. You know what I mean? It's different.
This very neighborhoody,
Always.
in the community aspect. I just find that to be so
Me
nice
too.
and beautiful.
100%.
But do you have any final words for people?
If you love something, go and do it. I always tell people that if that's what you want to do and you're thinking about it, just go do it. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks. Do what makes you happy.
It's
at
all
the end
about
of the day,
happiness.
that's what you got to be. You know, if you want to strive for something and you want to do something and you're worried about what other people think, that's the right thing to do. So go and do it.
I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was fun. I had a ball.
I appreciate you literally coming off the airplane today.
Absolutely. Yeah, right here.
I appreciate you supporting me and
Always.
everyone else in the
Always.
city.
Yeah.
Make sure that you check out Joey on his social media page, Joe Perri, and also The Skinny with Joey Merlino and Lil Snuff.
That's right. Thank you for having me again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Wait, we have one more thing to say, right? Thank you so much for listening to The City Buzz. Make sure you follow us on our social media pages and make sure you subscribe. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, iHeart. We appreciate you watching. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. I appreciate you. I had a ball.
And remember,
don't forget, keep your eyes on the city and your ears on the buzz for less.
love it.